Last night, for many women across the world, there was a moment in the debate when Vice President Pence interrupted Senator Harris. Her response was quick and to the point.
Susan, this is important.
Susan,
I want to add, but Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
I have to
I'm
weigh
speaking.
in. Repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
Well, wait.
I'm speaking. If you don't mind letting me finish, we can then
Please.
have a conversation, okay?
Please.
Okay.
Yes,
Mr. Vice President, I'm
please,
speaking.
Richard.
I'm speaking. Okay.
It's a familiar feeling for many women. Research shows that men do 75% of the talking in meetings. And during pandemics, 45% of women said it's difficult to speak up in virtual meetings. Moira Forbes is with me, the publisher of Forbes Women and the executive vice president of Forbes Media. All right, I'm on thin ice here because a man talking about this... Got me! We hadn't even started and you got me. Moira, okay, let's just go for this. Moira, when she said that last night, I'm speaking, did you interpret that in the way that many are interpreting today? Or did you just see the senator telling the vice president to shut up?
I think what I saw what many women have experienced time and time again, and that is the constant need to understand how to calibrate more forceful emotions, and the fact that women continue to walk a really tenuous tightrope when it comes to being in positions of power or aspiring to power. Emotions are read very, very differently, interpreted very differently. Last night showed that not all interruptions are going to be interpreted the same way. If a woman were to forcefully interject, it would be seen as emotional or volatile, whereas a man, it's seen as powerful and confident. And I was really happy, though, today that type of conversation came to the surface.
So, as a man, tell me what I need to learn from what we saw last night, because I'm probably guilty as anybody else, but I'm not doing it with malice or intent.
And I think that's a really important point to make. You know, not all of these moments are people intentionally trying to subdue someone's voice or interject in a forceful manner. But I think the first and most important thing, Richard, is just having these types of conversations and be more sensitive to the fact that when you have different perspectives in the room, it's not enough just to have a seat at the table. It's not enough to have a voice at the table. You have to be heard. And when you have different communication styles, or when they're read very, very differently, and I say this again, women's behavior is interpreted very, very differently than men. I think we all need to be much more conscious of those biases that we're bringing into these conversations.
And finally, related to this, the way in which this will have been perceived, do you think this was a black eye for Mike Pence with women voters?
I don't think it was a black eye. I think he was also very measured and respectful. I think it more brought to the surface very different communication styles, and the fact that we're much more accustomed to men interrupting. Men often are themselves more accustomed to doing it as well. And so I don't necessarily saw it as aggressive behavior. I don't think it was something that was specifically forceful in the manner that some may perceive it. But I think it brought to the surface a conversation that we wouldn't have been having the last election cycle, and that is the ways in which women in position of power are perceived differently. And if we don't have more women at the seat of the table, if their voices aren't being heard, we're not going to be able to fully leverage the power of those diverse perspectives.
Moira, thankfully you ended gracefully and on time, so I was not forced into the uncomfortable position of having to interrupt.
Well, Richard, you can interrupt me at any time. If there's one person who I'd never mind doing it, it's you. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're too kind. Thank you so much.